Welcome to Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Episode 242 of our podcast. It's a lot. It's a lot of lettuce.
What's it called?
I did it for you.
Oh, you did do it. Thanks. That is a lot of lettuce. You know where that's from? That's Christian Bale. And he's like all gangster in that show. Fantastic show. It's so much so that I've only seen it once and it still resonates with me.
Really?
You know what? I'm just going to not say anything so there's silences and then people don't see how long it takes me to find this movie, but I'm going to tell you what it is. Yeah, there it is. Harsh Times.
Harsh Times. And also for the first time ever, I'm going to leave in a silence.
No way. No way. No, it was such a good movie. Christian Bale in Harsh Times, 2005.
Never seen it.
That's a lot of lettuce.
What's he referring to? Money or?
Yep, money. Because it's green. Obviously. Right?
242. Sorry, I said something I said a lot of lettuce as you were saying something, and I don't remember what.
What's the word like race car where it's the same front and back? 242. Race car.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Wait, is that what it's called? Oh, the word race car. Got it.
Right. But what is that kind of word called? I know it. It's one of my favorite things. I love it. I love numbers that are like that and words that are like that. What's it called?
Yeah, there probably is. It's probably onomatopoeia.
No, I'm going to Google it. Keep this silence out as well, please. What kind of word is race car?
It's going to be a 45-minute edited episode, but it's actually going to be an hour and a half recorded.
Palindrome.
That's a great word.
Yep. Civic.
Great word.
Noon. Race car. Level. Mom. What about dad? Yeah. Boob.
Hey,
boobs. Boobs.
Now, you can't do the S, though. Can't do the S. Big shout out to our patrons. Thank you so much for your support and everybody who resubbed up this week. Welcome, Thaliaris. I'm pretty sure I nailed that. Thanks for joining our Patreon and supporting the podcast. We love your face. Patreon gets access to After Dark. It's our podcast after the podcast where we just keep rocking. We just keep going. It's just us.
I know. Just your body language when you're like, we just keep rocking. I was expecting some sort of 90s ballad to pump out.
It almost did. I had to control myself, but not
one
this
of the
time.
best. One of the best parts about Rambo, I gotta say, that music,
I don't
the credit
remember
music.
Rambo at all.
Oh,
really?
Very political. The first one, extremely political.
Oh,
yeah.
Political, like nowadays? Do you mean, or like back?
No. Just about like the lack of support vets had when they came back from war.
See, I don't know anything about
That's
it.
what the whole show was about. The first one. Then the other ones just go like, woo, machine guns, flexing pecs. But Rambo started off with
pecs.
Yeah,
I love.
Why not, man? Bigger the guns, the bigger the pecs.
It's just a funny way to say it. I love it.
Welcome to Forever Exiled, everyone.
Welcome. Yeah, this is a podcast, so we're gonna talk. We're excited to talk about this. We a couple weeks back got an invite from GGG to come out to the US of A. They're going to LA again for something. I don't know. There is some event happening that weekend. I don't know if they're at it. I assume they are if they're coming all the way out. But they asked if we would come out to check out some PoE 2 stuff, more console related than PC. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin's really excited for that. Well,
Justin, be like, where's the WASD you talked about?
Yeah, that's right. What the
You didn't shut up about it. Where's my WASD?
Watch, it's going to be all console related, but the mouse and keyboard plugin.
I hope
It'll be like,
yeah. Or let me have a corner.
Exact same
Give
game.
That's corner.
Right. Snob corner. You'll wear the cap.
That's right. So we're going to be out there. We're going to be in LA June 5th to 7th. The event is on the 6th, so that should be cool. We're going to check that out. We're going to throw a channel up in our Discord for sharing our adventures and pictures and things that we see, and maybe be able to meet up with some people on maybe the Wednesday or Thursday night. We don't totally know our schedule yet, but we'll keep everything up to date in a new Discord channel that we will create probably sometime this week or next.
And anyone can go into the anyone on Discord can go into the LA channel we'll make. It would be really cool to meet up with people. We know we've already had people reach out that have been familiar, that knew we were going already. because I think Justin,
Patrons
I think
do.
you said it in After Dark last week.
Yeah.
So we would love to meet up. Hopefully our schedule lets us. We haven't had any information as to how the weekend will go. So hopefully it'll all work out. But yeah, we're planning on arriving. What did you say? The 5th, right?
We're going there the Wednesday. 5th. We're taking off on the 7th. So the plan is Wednesday we'll have pretty freed up. But
hopefully, yeah.
Thursday's the event. It should be fun. We'll have to see what we see. I know they've got some of the devs there, so we don't know a whole lot of detail. But shout out to Antoine, who works with one of the companies GGG works with, because that guy is a stud. He was the most helpful person that we have dealt with in a long time. So it should be fun. We're going to be flying out in June. So if you're in the area,
as we get details to how the weekend's going to work and when our availability will be, again, hopefully we'll have the availability. That's what we're aiming for. But because we don't know the schedule, we'll post all our details. We'll pin that so that people know. And then if we have a place where we're able to meet up, we'll also be posting that in that channel too. So for those that are able to make it to LA and would like a handshake or
if you're in LA,
right? Yeah, of course. Yeah, no. Sorry. No. Like we might only have like 20 seconds. So anyway, if you want a butt pinch or something, check out that channel on Discord.
Ty will give you a butt pinch.
I'm pinching butts. I'm skipping the handshake. I'm going straight to the butt slap.
Hopefully, did you get your passport yet?
I did. I went very day it was available.
Nice.
And I even got to miss newspapers with the kids for it. My wife did it the second she came home from work. So her long day, it was a huge ordeal though, because it was back and forth through brutal rush hour.
Right.
Getting to that Surrey office. And I got there with only 15 minutes to spare, but it was no problem. I went in and out. Like the system is so like mechanical. Yeah, it's just right on.
It's totally cool.
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, I got it, and it's all good. All good.
How was your week?
I had a good week, man. I had a good week. Weather's
Why
been
do you
nice.
not have your phone on D&D? You told me you were going to tell me.
First, your phone. Oh, I was going to say you're lagging.
Mine's smooth on my camera, but I see you juddering.
Yeah, it's the exact same for me. Me smooth. It's probably Discord then. Do you want to restart our conversation?
No, just tell me. No, just keep it rolling.
My daughter has a couple girls over for a sleepover.
Cool.
So my daughter has a couple girlfriends over for the night. Mm-hmm. And their parents don't know me at all. One has never, ever met me. One briefly met me. So just in case they have any concerns. Yeah. And one of the girls is her first sleepover that's not at her own house.
Sure.
So, in case
you have to drive them at the...
Well, I have no car. Aaron's not here.
Oh, so right. Yeah. Okay.
Even one of the girls, one of the girls, their family, they don't have a car at all. And so, but I didn't know that. I just told them to come over anytime after school.
They bus or like, how do they get to school?
They were just going to send their kid and walk. But I mean, it's a sleepover. They're carrying a whole bunch of stuff. So we met them halfway and then anyway. So just for their sake, I don't want to miss a call in case they're worried or concerned or anything like that. So, or something happens and they need to pick up.
Makes sense.
Kid. So my apologies if you have a lot of ding and dang. Good, man. Good.
It's all good.
Gardening's been fantastic. The lawn's looking nice. The areas, the bare spots are still bare spots, but it's nice. It's nice. I still like all the garden work, and I got a lot of help from the family this week. My kids and my wife really pitched in and really helped out. And so it's been good, but I've had a lot of busy and consuming days with the different tasks that needed to be done. So my body, I've definitely gone beyond the envelope that I should with all of the symptoms that I deal with. So I'm going to need a few days of nothing. I'm going to have to order groceries online for a little bit. Probably won't go to church on Sunday. Just those things, and just like extra chill. You know what I mean? To catch up. But I'm doing really well, man. If I complained, I'd feel guilty, or I should feel guilty for complaining. So things are good for me. How about you?
It's good. It's gotten better as the week's gone on. This week's been still crappy with the pain. I'm kind of now just in a holding pattern, right? Because I got to wait till July 2nd before I can get in with the consult.
So it is. You got a date now. I didn't know you had a date. That's good.
I don't remember if I said anything. Yeah,
so okay. I did. It's not important to let your friends know. It's cool that you do.
Well, I thought maybe we had talked about it, but yeah, I do. July 2nd, I'm meeting with the neurosurgeon, but then that's just the consultation, right? The the surgery is expected to be 3 to 4 weeks after that. I'm paying to see this neurosurgeon, and then I'm also probably going to pay when I'm there to have an injection done it's a localized nerve blocker. So it's meant to last until the surgery. So
sure.
It's not cheap, but it will be, I will be doing it. So
I've had something similar to a nerve blocker before, but it was to see if it would work as like a pain tolerance thing.
There you go.
And so, no, that one's, okay. that one is not.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't, I didn't have a surgery coming up to fix whatever the issue was. And it was awesome because I had so much more mobility than I'm used to in my neck. When I guess the effect expired, my neck was 10 times worse because I was doing stuff that it wasn't supposed to do. So I'm happy for you. Like, that wasn't trying to spin it on me. That was just like with my experience, because you have the surgery to follow. That's exciting. You get to have that mobility and then the fix, so you don't have to deal with the consequence of, pretending you're not injured. So that's nice.
My the nerve blocker pills that I'm on have been upped in dosage, and I think that's made quite a bit of difference as this week's gone on, because I started it just at the beginning of the week, I think. And I feel like it's finally starting to kick in, but we also swapped me off of codeine to another pill, which is one of my favorites, because I know it works every time, but it's very addicting. It's an opioid, so you have to be careful with it. But my doctor's very careful with that stuff, but it works. So it makes me feel quite a bit better. But what my doctor said, what my chiro said, what I was told very forcefully was that you can't, and I'm really guilty of this, is I take the pills, I feel better. So then I think I'm normal. I can do my normal stuff, and then I mess things up worse. So trying to control myself while the pain starts to dissipate a little bit has been it's a bit tough. I'm not very good at it. So, but the pain at least seems to be getting a little bit better. Still tired. Like, I'm still fighting through that. Like, it's one of the reasons we had to record late today, is just because I had to move a session to this morning, because I'm way more fresh in the mornings. Like, I'm much more cognitively aware and able to focus in the mornings, because there's less stuff in my system, but there's more pain. So I'm just like, I'll deal with the pain so I can be, present and whatever. But it's, it's going fine. Today was the first day of like getting out of the house and going to something, because I've just been working from home pretty much all week and trying to chill and take care of the back. So, and it was actually a lot of fun today. I read a book recently called,
you didn't read it?
Well, I listened to audiobook. I'm not going to pick my book. Get out here. It's called Building a Story Brand, but it's if you own your own business or an entrepreneur type, it's definitely one to check out. But another guy within my office read it as well, and so we spent the day actually doing a first part of our brainstorming, using that book a bit as a reference for there's pretty big restructuring that we're going to be doing at the company. So it was fun. It was fun to get out of the house and actually like interact with people versus just dealing with phone calls and emails and stuff. So but I feel really good right now, but this is when I'm at my most drugged. By the end of the day, that's when I've got the most goodies in my body. So otherwise
I'm glad you're feeling better and that there's progress, because before it was almost insufferable for you. So this has been
I was a little worried that you were going to LA by yourself, because if I couldn't get the pain under control, I wouldn't have been able to go sit on a plane. We'll still see. It's still going to suck, and I'll be bringing my stuff with me. But
I would have bought a blow up doll. Sit right next to me.
Right. Kind of the same thing.
Yeah, go to a meet and greet with my lady friend.
That's right.
This is Justin.
So, it was overall it was a good end to the week, but the week was rough. Like through up until literally today, actually.
Nice. And how's your lawn?
My guy came and fertilized it today. It's been like I overseeded it, whatever that was, 2 weeks ago. I'm not sure much of it took. I tried to keep it wet. Like, I tried to make sure I was watering it, but I'm also like trying to plan when I water based on no parents being around, and you know what I mean? I don't want somebody reporting me to the city. So it's It actually does look quite a bit better, but it's still patchy. You?
Mm-hmm. Oh, good.
Well, you said
good.
Kind of how yours was, yeah.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I still have the grass seed that we bought that was on sale on Amazon.
And we're back.
Were we talking about lawns?
I think so. Yes. I think you were just saying you had seed.
It's so crazy. My wife's head is way bigger than mine. She's not allowed to wear my hats ever. And then every time I put on a headset, like, so she uses the same podcast setup that we have when she's doing her broadcasting, playing Sims or whatever, Stardew Valley's her thing now. And even with like the headset that our friends got me, which was very nice of them, when she uses that on the Xbox when she's broadcasting, her head's bigger than mine, but she always has the settings, like the comfort settings,
like it's
so
off.
Like it's so small. No, small, like all the way small. I'm like, how does it even reach her ears?
Backwards, maybe?
I don't know. No, she wears it normal. I don't know how you can, like, maybe she has like a really long head, but I don't know. Anyway, every time I put on the thing, I'm always so surprised that my headset's like, I need to make it bigger when I have the smaller head. Whatever, Aaron. Anyway, sorry for the interruption. The girls just needed to get organized and we're all good. They're going to watch Nimona. Have you ever seen Nimona? It's a Netflix original. It is, I mean, there's some pretty dumb stuff in it, like some characters that try too hard to be funny, but it's a phenomenal story.
Real
every time.
Animated?
No, cartoon, animated.
Okay.
And every time I watch it, I either cry, or the only reason I'm not crying is because I'm refusing to cry, but then I'm making that stupid I'm not trying to cry face. Anyway, my lawn's fine. It's been great. I've been enjoying it. I've been testing some stuff. There was that video that... Wait, I want to show...
Curious to see if that gets picked up. What video?
The video that Manway sent in the grass channel about pre-germinating seeds. I'd never heard of that before. And then Manway sent the video and I checked it out, but then afterwards looked more of it up, and apparently it's a very common thing. I just never heard of
a great idea.
Seeds. So I'm going to try it, but I'm going to wait. I mean, we're already getting into June soon, so I don't know if there's going to be any more rainy streaks like the one we just had this week.
Today.
But I didn't make myself familiar and knowledgeable about it until the rain already started. Like, it was only a day away before we had 3 days straight of rain. And so it was just bad timing for it. So I'm not in a rush. So I am going to try that though with one of the bags that we got on sale of the grass seed. That looks pretty rad.
You just got to get those little mesh bags from like Home Depot or something.
We have tons of those for different things. I'm sure we do. And even if we don't, Home Depot, right? Did that guy though in that video? Hilarious.
Yeah. Really good.
Very good. So anywho,
I have a Discord question for you. When you see us talking, do you see yourself going pixelated, or does it keep you smooth the whole time?
I'm always smooth, and you're pixelated.
Something's up.
Well, let's just disconnect and reconnect.
No, it's not going to change anything at this point. Like, because that would have to be full closing Discord and reopening it. I don't want to take any risks.
Just the conversation. Just like hang up and come back in the channel. That won't change anything, will it?
Sure. Well, I'll disconnect right now, but...
Sorry, I took a little bit longer because I provided feedback. How was your session? Smiley down face. You bet your buns. Why? Well, because... And then it wasn't there, but I wasn't going to click on other, so I clicked...
Hopefully you didn't talk during that, because I won't have notes if you were like, motherfucker. I won't have
stupid Discord doesn't have the right options.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
What do we got this week in PoE?
Yeah, let's do that.
Not much.
No, they had two posts. They have a hideout and pet sale, which is awesome. I haven't checked it out yet. I forgot about it until I was doing our notes again. And then there was no patch for console, which is extremely surprising because they're going through big issues right now. But there was a hotfix 7. So 3.24.2 hotfix 7 for PC.
Right.
And that had some stuff in it, but not stuff. You know, like flasks can only now go to 40% quality instead of 60. And the toxic sewer and waste pool maps can now generate incursion. That's exciting. And then some crashes and stuff. But I was really surprised with console because remember the visual glitches that I was telling you about last week where I actually couldn't play? It's still going on. And
have you read other people reporting it? Like it's not just you?
It's like the entire bug section of their website. It's just loaded. People are posting without seeing that it's already there.
Have
people
they recognized that glitches? They're aware and they're...
Yeah, but they're asking for videos. So there's a ton of videos out there, but then that's it. You know what I mean? There's like 1 or 2 responses. So who knows what it is, but the game's literally unplayable. Wow. Because whatever it is, for those that didn't hear last week's episode, there's a glitch on console where there's a certain amount of graphics that are, I don't know how they're tied together because they seem irrelevant to each other, but there's a graphical issue where certain graphics aren't showing up. There's another one where it's like all of a sudden everything's twitching and like whatever these specific graphics are, everything's flickering. And that one's really bad. You leave an instance and then that goes away. But there's a glitch where whatever it is, there's a certain kind of graphic that like the face buttons won't show up, but on the loading menu and in your inventory and or when you're going to pick up loot, right? You know how like when you're playing a console game, A will be next to something that you can interact with. It's telling you, hey, you can interact with this. Well, in game or even on the loading screen where it's like, hey, hit A to pick something up, the icon's gone. But whenever that happens, enemies, half, I would say as an abstract number, half the enemy skills can't be seen. My filter is completely visually wonky, like text doesn't show up or only the background color shows up. You can't read what it is.
Wow.
There's so much text that's even missing from items where it's just like complete words are missing. So whatever the interaction is with it all, it actually makes it unplayable because as you're playing through things, if you get that glitch in an instance you can't see the skills that the boss is using.
Yeah. It's not
like great. That was the video that I showed. It was like 3 different bosses that Maven showed up and it was brutal. I could see like 3 attacks. That was it. You would
think on console it should be relatively easy for them to replicate. You're not talking about hardware differences. You're like...
Yeah, the funny thing is the repro rate's not 100%. It's just really bad when it happens, but it does happen often enough. But when you can't replicate it 100%, as somebody who's trying to fix it, you don't want to take any guesses. Like a bug that has 100% repro rate is super rare, but it's a godsend for those that need to fix it. It's just glorious. So I'd love to find some consistency to it to help them out. But unfortunately, the game is not playable on Xbox. I haven't been checking PlayStation's side. Sure. Yeah. So anyway, the only reason that we were having that conversation for a second time is there was no patch for console. There hasn't been one since the beginning of May. And I only started experiencing this after the 0.2 patch, 24.2 patch. But some people have been saying, I don't know if they're just exaggerating, but some people in their flabbergasted bug reports, it's tough to write a bug report without emotion when it's so infuriating. So I get it.
Emotionless though, because it's really hard for them to
take it seriously.
Troubleshoot. If somebody's like, it's been doing this forever. It's like, okay, but like when?
Yeah. Well, like some people have been saying it's been since 3.24 is launched. Now, I don't know if that's an exaggeration or not. I didn't notice it, but I was also on PC. So
sure. Right.
Who knows? So anyway, that was just, I've been so excited to be able to play on console, but I haven't been able to. So I actually have it just as a bookmark right now. And every day I refresh to see a couple times a day. So anyway, but that was it was a really low key week in PoE land. So hopefully that means a 3-month league for them. They're just busy doing other stuff. And I love it. If you have nothing to say, don't say it. Give me
I mean, as long as they've acknowledged that they're aware of it.
1 or 2 of them. Yeah, but I guess you're not going to reply to every single bug report if everything's different. So there have been 1 or 2 replies to it. Nothing saying like, hey, we're working hard on it. I mean, that's an assumption. Everybody should know they're working hard on it. They obviously don't want it, but it's all just asking for feedback or can you give me more detail? Give me a video.
Interesting.
Yeah. But you played this week a little bit. Private League?
Kind of after, a little bit. We had our private league. It ends the day after this gets released. So it'll end on Monday at 9:02 a.m. So good luck to everybody who's still alive and pushing in there.
Speaking of pushing, total change of subject, but I want to shout out your hoodie. You're wearing a Mercedes Petronas hoodie. It looks really sharp. I really like it. Hamilton got second in P2 today. in second practice.
I didn't watch any of this practice stuff. It's Monaco this weekend.
Yes, it
right?
is.
Right.
Charles and Hamilton were a 10th away from each other, and then everyone else is half a second behind.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Perez is 9th. Max is
only
fifth.
P2, but practice 2.
Hey,
you know what's funny? When I grabbed this hoodie this morning, I was like, shoot, I need a white shirt to just quickly throw underneath it. So I literally grabbed a white shirt off of the shelf and walked into the bathroom, went to have a shower, got out to get a shower, went to get dressed. Check this out.
You just grabbed any white shirt.
I grabbed any white shirt.
The exact match of what you're wearing. It's your exact
same shirt as my sweatshirt.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a super fan. So our private league. Our private league, for those that aren't playing, is hardcore, which sucks. But every one that we do is hardcore. It's solo self-found, which is the only way to play, because then you don't have to play with dumb friends like Justin. Then what else do we have? Justin turned on... We each picked a mod, and Justin picked no magic or rare items. So all items that are not unique get converted to a normal drop.
Mm-hmm. And then Tyler chose 40% more monster life.
And it's been the best part.
The two those are the two modifiers that we played for the private league. So let's chat about it. We're both dead.
Yes.
How did it go for you? How was your experience in the private league?
The time that I died, I was actually going to broadcast, because I actually had very little time to play. Mm-hmm. A little bit with the health, like it was just really.
What are you doing?
I thought sound was coming from my computer.
Oh, I would tell you
it wasn't, but it was, but it wasn't.
So yeah, you're good. You got it.
What am I talking about? Oh, right. So yeah, and I didn't get as much time. I had a very foggy week with all the extra work I needed to do and all the extra driving I needed to do. So, and that wasn't anything I could foresee. It was just life stuff that needed to happen that was more important than playing video games, unfortunately. So I didn't get as much time as I wanted. So the times that I did play, I played even though I wasn't at my peak.
Sure.
And the reason that matters for someone like me is I zone out all the time. I play quite apathetically. I like to make my builds hardcore style. I don't like to cut corners when it comes to survivability, but I die all the time when I play my characters because of all the zoning out that I do. So I always try, when we're playing our private league, I'll pick like the middle of the day just after lunch, or I'll have lunch a little bit early, and I'll get like a nice hour and a half stint of having energy and being able to be aware and reactive. And I try and do that. I didn't have any of that. And so the time that I died, I was going through and my build's fine. Like it's the same build that I use, and the axe are no problem kind of thing. Or I still die sometimes, but it's most of the time it's not something that I could have really dealt with. It was just chance. And so I'm fighting what's his face, Innocence.
I think I saw.
Yeah, and I'm, for some reason, like the boss checkpoints that I have in my head for being difficult, Innocence is never that one. I never have a problem.
Really?
With
Innocence balls that killed you. That's always the part for me.
It's Merveille, which is one.
Early, sure.
Another one is what's his face, Dominus, but depending on where I'm at or how impatient I was with my gear, it's not Dominus. There's like
just everything.
It's the people at the beginning. Like there's that one like spastic jumper. It's like, hey, look at this. Hey, look at this. And then there's the other one that does like,
I can spin.
Yeah. And then
they're just so crazy.
Spark Shock Lady. And she makes me zone out all the time because Spark is just so insane. Right, and then there's like Bleed Dagger, whoever it is.
Whatever.
That's in the second wave.
There's a lot going on.
So, but there's that. Then there's the spider one as well. In the second act, right? But it's not the Weaver that's the problem. It's the just magic. It's every time. It's the amount of magic spiders that are there.
And the stupid
it depends
slow that
on
makes no
which
sense.
mods roll on them. Every now and then you can get a stupid one. Yes, that's right. Well, I'm normally stationary, and that only impacts movement speed, not cast or attack speed. So normally that's fine. But so anyway, there's just a few checkpoints along the way that you're like, oh, okay, well, this one
might be tough or whatever. So Innocence, though, is not one of your checklist.
Yeah, it's not. It's always been an easy fight. It's not a big deal at all. It's great for minions. You know what I mean? Like, even when Innocence is invulnerable, which are always stupid in boss fights, but all those dumb, everybody's casting at you and you just got to wait it out or kill whatever it is. It's never a problem. Like, even the ball. So I died to, you know, when he like shoots that bigger ball out and then it like has all those other balls that just
the worst
spray
part.
from it.
They literally one shot you. Nearly will one shot you.
Yeah. And when I'm close to one of those statues, I'm reminded every time that I can go behind those statues. And that's fine. Yeah, it's hilarious. I know. I was hearing that on Discord.
No clue.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Which is that's interesting because there's a lot of neat stuff like that in a lot of their different boss fights, which I think is quite fun. And they've definitely amplified that. Well, from their 2019 boss fight videos, they definitely amplified that. Like, remember like that snake style boss where it was going in and out of the ground, and like the idea was that you hide behind the snake itself on some of those archways. Anyway, so yeah, stuff like that. Or like interacting with the light on that other like massive crab boss, right? In PoE 2. Again, 2019, so who knows if those are still in the game. But you know, a lot of when I'm not near a statue, if I've been zoning out and I'm not near a statue, it's never really been a problem to avoid those things for me because I can just run to the edge of the map and then everything's nice and spaced out, and then I can jump back and forth. Sure. It's not a fun fight. I don't like that fight, but it's fine. And I normally can take a hit as well, like one hit and I'm fine. In this one, I thought originally it was a crit, but then when I looked back on the video, I got hit twice. Sid pointed it out as well. Yeah. So when it was spinning, I guess it did the balls that it was spazzing out. Right. It was like two balls, like consecutively almost attached. So I got double tapped. And so anyway, but that was it. I was just surprised because I'm used to zoning out in that fight. But you know, it's like getting hit in the head from a 12-year-old and knock you out unconscious. So that's what it was. So that was me. But because I didn't get a lot of consistent time to play, by the time I got to that fight, I hate restarting, but when I'm like in the first half of the act, I'll give it another shot.
No, that's Act 5.
But
Act 5, right?
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sure.
Normally I would like, that would probably be my threshold for restarting, but I'm like, yeah, you know, I could restart, but because I didn't get a lot of time to play, that was Thursday, I think, when I died. Okay. And it's all like, with the amount of time and energy combined that I'm going to have until Monday, I'm not even going to be able to get to that part again. So unfortunately, I only had the one attempt, or I guess second attempt. I did die in the first act, the very first time to spastic fire lady
in like the first zone or whatever. Yeah. I saw people talking in Discord that were like, "Oh, is Tyler going to beat Justin again?" And I was like, "Oh man, I couldn't play again because my back, like trying to just sit down to play, just wasn't going to happen."
It was my league. It was my league to beat you.
It was. You were there. You were so close. I don't remember what level I died at. I died to I was finishing up Act 9, and at the end of Act 9 you have to kill the 3 sub bosses before you go and kill the big one, the big fat guy in the middle. And I was fighting Chevron. I'm not really ever had much of a problem with the Chevron fight. I was playing with explosive arrow ballista totems, which was going great. Again, felt fine. Build felt great. Really tanky, like really, really tanky. And what I died to, I mean, there's certainly going to be a part of it that was me maybe not paying as much attention as I should have, but also I couldn't see. What happened is she stacked, I think two or three of her books stacked on top of 2 of my totems. And when I went to run through my totems to move to a free spot, I did not notice the books, which then explode. And they all explode at the same time. And it literally just one-shot me. I was dead instantly. So I was like, oh, well, that was fun. It was like, the build was fun. I played, it was just ballista totems and it felt strong. I was actually a little bit nervous about living for too long because I was, it was painful sometimes to play. for longer periods of time, but it was fun. I mean, the more life was definitely noticeable. I know you love that. It's not like I have anything against longer fights. I just have maybe it was just the combination of this league mechanic, but when you had the increased life on the map already, we talked about this last week with BK, just joking about, how much health that meant some of these rare and magic monsters would have. They were just, some of them were, I quite often was like, no, we're just going to keep moving on because that thing's not going to die for quite a long time.
I also think GGG has an FU code somewhere in the game where it's 100%. Like some days when you're going to map, it's like all it is 60% less life recovery in your maps, or you always get temporal chains, or you like there's always something in there that's like just constantly shows up.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like with this one, when they went, oh, you like more health? They were like, well, we'll give you more health, because it felt like it was on every single zone.
Magic monster had extra life, extra life. And then it's like, oh man, that was a long fight with that magic. All right. And then all of a sudden there's another magic group. It's like extra life. It's like, there's no somebody reward there. I swear. That's like what half their staff are doing. They're just like watching the stats on other people's situations or instances, and they're like just hitting buttons. Right. They have an FU little keyboard there where it's like all 9 mods that people hate, and they're just like hitting the same one over and over.
Just like spinning in circles in his chair. hitting random buttons. Right. It's funny too, because one of the things I found with those long fights is, like I was just joking about, you go through this long drawn out fight and then you're like, well, there's no loot. There's no reward.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't like the mod you chose, but it was a saving grace as well. You know what I mean? Like, I think it canceled itself out. Rare items would have dropped, but they wouldn't have been as good, but we would have had the league mechanic anyway. But I found that I had much better gear than I normally would because of the league mechanic. I could choose the base type that I wanted. And
I mean, quite often for you don't focus on the base type, you focus on the sockets.
Right. And so that was a frustrating thing, because with how the league mechanic works is it's basically going to give you a 1 socket. Yeah. Unless you have the multiple sockets. So it kind of screwed me in that regard, but I didn't get far enough for the sockets to really become a factor of choice. But so my stats were much better than they normally would be, but I got there easier because I wasn't having to pick stuff up all the time. I was ignoring almost everything on the ground. Very few times did I pick up a base type that mattered to me. And the only time I did was if it had links. And then I'd use an essence on it, right? Because then I wouldn't have to use my fusings that I never got. So that was kind of a nice reprieve, I guess you could say, to the fact that you added a mod that really didn't interest me, but it did help because I had better gear and I got it easier than, hey, what's it? Oh, hey, what's this? Oh, hey, what's this? Oh, you know what I mean? I mean, I still got some of those with this, but I got to choose what dropped every time.
Base type, yeah. So, I still found I picked up quite a few bases and tried rolling them with essences or alks, or I used a lot of chaos for sure. I did do some crafting. I do think you're right. There was the benefit of the bases. But I also, in the beginning, especially early on, just would throw any craft, any grave craft at all, just to get a rare. But what I also found I started doing was doing grave crafts to get alterations, to get me the rare so I could sell it for alterations.
Yeah.
But it was a fun experiment. The league definitely helped with regards to still being able to get rares and magic items. I mean, I can't say for sure because I can't think back far enough and well enough, but it tends to be that way with most leagues. Like there is like that private league mechanic is quite often helped in whatever the league mechanic is. That most league mechanics give you some way of getting items. They typically have some method to deliver rare items. So like even I'm just trying to remember what the last few were, but Toda had it. You could get items in Toda.
Almost every one of them.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how useful of a modifier it is. That's fine. Next time you just get no stash.
Can't wait for that. That one I can't stand, not with the way the game is.
It's made for it.
Made for it, yeah. Any After Dark listeners would know how much I hummed and hawed negatively over that one. But
a lot.
Another thing that actually, I'm not sure if it impacted me, because I did have just as I mentioned, a very big envelope pushing week and a half. So I was always tired. I always had a headache. I was always zoning out. Every time I went to play, I lasted, 10 to 50 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's not a fair representation. But remember, was it 1 or 2 After Darks ago where you called me out for not listening to you? I was like busy.
It was awesome.
It was so like we were talking about whatever. Yeah, it was the After Dark before the private league, because we were talking about our builds, and we were chit chatting and whatever and figuring something out for you. And then I came across the little, light turn on situation in my brain with what's it called? Ghost Reaver, the keystone, where it leeches energy shield instead of life. And I'm like, oh yeah, with minions, leech, because the leech is really strong with minions. And then you have the 10% instant leech. And I'm like, oh man, this is all getting like all. And so that was what I was thinking about while you were talking, and I didn't hear you talk about anything.
It was glorious.
But that hasn't left my head.
What part? The Reaver or the me catching
just all of it. Because every time now I think of Ghost Reaver, I think of the time that I wasn't listening. And so now I'm like the best listener in the world, because I'm always thinking of Ghost Reaver and I feel bad for not listening.
You're always a good listener.
Yeah, sure.
It was just one. It was awesome.
But because of Ghost Reaver, it's talking about Life Leech turning into ES, right? So then I'm like, okay, well, I've always loved CI, but it didn't suit my play style the last time that I was giving it a fair shot. Right. I've never liked the last time I gave it a fair shot. And the reason I quit on CI before was because it was in the age where the Redeemer, Al-Hazim, what are those called? Those Guardians? Those aren't Guardians, are they?
No, it's not the Elder Slayers. There's the
Conquerors. It was when the Conquerors were introduced, and that's where they added those 4 extra influence types. And then all of a sudden, for those are the most powerful items in the game. But so many of those extremely powerful mods were prefixes, and it just made an ES build or something that, right, like armor needing 2 prefixes or ES or evasion needing 2 prefixes. It was just much more difficult. You had to have much more perfect items, and that wasn't something that I had the time to achieve. I never do. So that was when it got really discouraging, because CI, which I always had a CI build at the time, kind of like how I always have a Righteous Fire build, even though I always play zombies. I always had a CI build, but that's when I gave up on it, because I'm like, there's just no way that you can get these good rolls with all these new prefixes showing up. But then I'm aiming to have influenced gear in everything, and now I need 3 prefixes. Like, I need these 3 prefixes on these base types. Like, it became too exact to be able to play the way that I like to play. So I gave up on it. But since then, they've had lots of changes to the tree, including Ghost Reaver and Valpack. Those have changed a couple of times. They changed around some keystones from I think it was the Trickster, one from the Occultist, and those have now gone on to the main tree. They took them away from those ascendancies and put them onto the main tree. They've added instilling orbs, right? That was also another thing when it comes to CI being one button. How am I going to be immune to all these different dot ailments that prevent me from recharging? But then, of course, they changed Purity of Elements, right? Since then, where Purity of Elements now just makes you immune to everything. And remember, back then, it didn't do that, right? Then it was just a nice boost to all resists. So, and it was only 35% reservation then, right? Because then they changed it to 50. They still gave you the all resist, but then they made the immunity, so that's the value for increasing it. So anyway, lots has changed since then, but for some reason, because it's still 2 prefixes, and I mean, the game is nowhere near dependent on those Conqueror mods anymore, right? They're almost far and few between.
They're almost impossible to get, yeah.
Right, and you definitely very rarely plan a build around it. There's just other really strong things to do. They've become kind of, not obsolete, but oh, neat, you have that, not going to bother kind of thing. For me, anyway, with the perspective of how I see the game, you don't really see people bragging about a Conqueror influenced item anymore. The point is, because it still costs 2 prefixes, all that other negative connotation, though I forgot the specifics, was in my mind, like, oh, it just doesn't suit me. It just doesn't suit me. But then when we were talking in that After Dark, a couple After Darks ago, it was like, I don't know, that when I saw Ghost Reaver and then it clicked with Minion Leech with the Necro change that just happened, and then the 10% instant leech that's in the Leech Masteries now, or Crit Masteries, you're like, it just clicked that all of a sudden all this stuff had happened. And I'm like, dude, I could do CI. I could do CI. It'd be, I can do CI.
Have you tried it yet?
Well, you see my build that I did in HC. It's never a great time to try things out,
No,
but I was leveling with Absolution, and I was having mana problems because I was doing my zombie build, which doesn't really need a lot of mana regen. I was having mana regen problems, so then I was needing to use so it was a lot busier. I was trying to like hybrid.
Are you talking this private league?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I was starting off doing my zombie build, but then I'm like, oh no, then I'll just throw in Absolution instead of zombies, and it'll be fine because it's still nice and tanky. Well, no, because then I need the mana regen. I'm like, so then half the time I'm like running around with 5 points left over. I'm like, well, do I want to respec? Do I want to try this? Well, no, because the Absolution build that I've made now, and I did on PoE Planner and double check the stats and POB, it's a CI build. Like I can't like do that now. I'm screwed. But I'm like, yeah, but I already got Purity of Elements, so no problem. But then I'm like, no, I can't. So I was kind of like in a constant. I was constantly torn this private league. It was a very minor factor, if at all, except for the fact that I was using Absolution, which they don't have an MTX for. I'm forced to use this extremely bright, flashy lightning skill. There's nothing that I can dumb it down. Even an MTX that I don't like the Automaton Dark Red dumb. I think that stuff looks. I don't like it.
I have them, so.
Oh, I'm glad you do. But there's nothing like that for Absolution, so I'm forced to use that really bright version. I don't know how much that impacted me because of the health week that I've had. But my death in the private league was much less depressing because as soon as I died and it was settling in and I'm like, oh shoot, I got crit. I know it wasn't crit, but at the time I thought it was just, I got crit, but it was actually, I got double balled. I got, what's it called? Teabagged. Is it teabagged? Teabagged.
Mm-hmm. You got it.
That sounds weird. Anyway, I got teabagged by Innocence. Thanks, Innocence. Mm-hmm. It's nasty and dirty and sweaty. And no, that's all I'm thinking about now. Innocence without any pants on. Where are we? Oh, right. So then I'm thinking, I'm like, but you know, it's Thursday and then there's only 3 days and I'm not going to have the time or the like good combination of energy and time to get back here. So as soon as I realized I wasn't going to start another character, I was like, oh, I can try the Ghost Reaver build. Because I've been making that on the side whenever I haven't been able to play or whenever lunches or dinners like cooking and getting ready and I have 10 minutes to blow.
Or
that doesn't matter, except my wife, the second that I died,
issues with console, that's
right,
why I'm asking.
But the second that I died, my wife was like,
oh, she's like,
Stardew Valley. So I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Awesome.
And I was happy to, though. I'm just pretending to be all bitter about it. So then I did start on console, and unfortunately for those testing the game in GGG land, I had that issue once going through the campaign. I'm only in Act 3, but I haven't had any of those visual glitches. So I am leveling. But listeners, long-term listeners will be proud of me. I went CI as soon as possible. I didn't rush CI.
I saw your tree.
I didn't rush CI. I didn't take the fastest path out. But with the tree that I designed, I followed my tree, but I aimed, and the first keystone I went for was CI. So I went, instead of going CI at 11, I went CI at 14.
How did it go?
Well, it's a long experience. Let me just say that when you're so excited for a build that you forget to even
go
gear
that way first.
Well, I am, because that is a good way, but I wouldn't take CI. I would get CI later, but I do want to go that way because Ghost Reaver's there, so I can get the leech right away. The instant leech is right there, and the thing that I love
over there anyway. Like you literally will be in that area.
And then there's a bunch of ES there, and even one of the ES nodes is ES in life. And so, you know, it's a good combo to start with.
That little round one, it's really good, right? That little node. Yeah.
And the thing that really intrigued me about going through and actually doing this with Absolution instead of zombies is Absolution doesn't need the survivability. It's not like SRS where you need to sustain and have alive 20 minions at a time. You only need 3. So sustaining them, even if they were to die quickly in a fight with a poorly rolled essence monster or something, you're fine. You just keep bringing them back. I have no idea what our recording time is because we're over an hour, but I swear maybe it's only 45 minutes, but I've been rambling lots.
15
and sometimes,
minutes.
Yeah. So hopefully everybody's enjoying the show, but I'll wrap up with this. The reason that I'm trying out Absolution is because I've always loved Spiritual Aid, but my zombie builds never let it work. You know what I mean? Like I'd use, if I wanted to use Spiritual Aid with zombies, I'd love to use something like Purifying Flame, where it just throws consecrated ground everywhere. And then the zombies, just that's how minions work within the game. They follow where you're casting. Whenever you hit with the cast, that's where they go, unless they have Predator support on somewhere else. So
does your tree take advantage of the stuff on its way to Spiritual Aid? Because that's very opposite to CI.
It's long term. But the thing is I'll still have my minions doing damage too, right?
Yep.
But the nice thing, so Absolution is one of those where it just ties in the things that I like really well. The other types of Spiritual Aid skills that would really interest me are more like the strike skill, like Dominating Blow, right? And so there's just not a lot that interests me to use along with my other minions.
Do you like Dominating Blow in its current form? I hate the
No,
rules
I don't like
it.
For one, there's way too many magic mobs in the game, and magic mobs are the bane of these skills like Summon Phantasm, Dominating Blow, even Absolution, because it's all about killing an enemy quick or the chance to spawn one on a rare unique. So that middle ground, like there's so many magic mobs and packs in the game, and whatever it is in the game, it's like there's this hidden modifier where they're just all given a huge amount of extra life without even a mod. You know what I mean? It's just like a hidden mod. So no, I don't think it's in a good spot, and I think it needs to be a support gem. I don't think it should be an attack. I think it needs to be a support. So then you get, and of course, it change its details so that it accommodates the freedom and the accommodation of being a support. But I think that's a skill that should be more like Summon Phantasm. Sure, maybe have it restricted to strike skills or attack skills, but I can't stand the strike skill itself. The game, especially for me, you can't tell when you're actually hitting somebody. Especially with controller support, you can't tell because you stay still whether you're hitting them or not.
Right.
So it's just, and sure, yeah, I get increased minion strike range, whatever it's called now, in meters, but
not that it doesn't really help you.
No, it doesn't change the visuals, right? Yep. It still doesn't show me anything. So no, I don't think it's in a good spot, but that's just because of how the game works. I love the concept of it. It's one of my favorite skills on paper. It's just, sometimes I forget that, and then I make a build around it, and then I try it out, and I'm like, oh yeah, Dominating Blow, dang it. Right.
So I love that you went CI right off the bat. I was just thinking as you were talking that I think for our next private league, we actually don't do modifiers, just keep it hardcore solo self-found. And between you and I, we have a deal that the absolute shortest direction, so it's a little bit earlier, right? You have to go to the right instead of taking advantage of, like, what is it, mana and ES, or is it mana and spell? I can't remember, but yeah, literally it's just int nodes all the way to CI. We have to, that's the rule, is whatever you want once you take CI, but you have to take it wouldn't be a rule within the private league because there'd be no way to police it. But if anybody wanted to have fun with us, but I feel like it would be fun to see how many level 14 characters we have dead.
You're not getting level 14, man. So what I was saying, like, I was so excited for this build, right? Because it accommodates Spiritual Aid, it accommodates CI, it accommodates the new leech, but I'm doing some damage too. And even the nodes going to the 10% instant leech on that far right of the tree, it's spell damage leech. And I'm like, that's fantastic because I'm using absolutes. Like, it all just synergized so well. I was so excited for this build, and my effective life pool is really fantastic. Even though I'm the one thing that I don't have that I normally really like is naturally increased maximum elemental resists. I'm just at 75 across the board, except one node gives me 76 lightning. So I'm so excited for this build and I'm ready to go. And so I know going ES at 14 is stupid, but I do it anyway just because it's fun. But it's before Merveille. And that's a busy one. And I was so excited. I did not think about gearing at all. I can't tell you how many sapphire rings I passed, walked right over, and all of a sudden I'm in that fight and I'm like, oh, I got 25% cold resist. This is and dead and dead.
Good job doing Brutus, though.
Dead and dead. Yeah, that one actually isn't. Well, that's the.
Would you have been CI yet at 14?
Yeah,
I feel like you would have been.
Can't remember, but it was an easy fight. You can do Brutus almost without getting hit. It's the same thing as Brutus. You just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yeah.
Well, it depends on what your damage is, though. If you're, you know what I mean, you're probably doing some phantasms or something, so you can do it. But depending on your build, sometimes you can't just go back and forth. Sometimes you're stuck right on them.
Yeah, no. At that stage, it's
SRS, right?
Yeah.
Holy Flame Totem, maybe.
No, I never thought about it. Didn't think about Decoy Totem either. I was out to lunch this league.
I never remember Decoy Totem either.
Yeah. I don't even remember if the witch gets it. I think the witch gets it. But anyway, it was it was a long road, man. Leveling, especially like once you get into Act 2 and you're going through all like those Spriggans and all the snakes and you're trying to do the broken bridge area on the man, it's it was fun when I selected the node and
you're like, I did it.
I did. And now I'm regretting it. I'm not going to use So an Orb of Regret. I'm sticking with it. I'm going to see how long it takes me. But eventually I'll be hardcore.
All right. We're going to wrap this up so I can walk around before we record After Dark.
Okay.
So thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Forever Exiled 242, Justin AK Tags.
Tyler Recker of Days.
Patrons, we'll catch you in After Dark. Everybody else, we'll see you next week. We got information down below. Forever Exiled is our website. Forever Exiled 20. Forever Exiled 82 is our Twitter.
Justin's got concussion brain.
Discord. We have a very fun Discord. Pop in there and say hi.
And we'll add the LA channel before this comes out.
No, probably next week. I don't want to. We'll figure it out. But yeah, you'll see it eventually come out. Patreon, other ways to support the podcast. You'll find them down below and on the website. Peace
out. Yo.